What about Foyth? Are you fully convinced by him? Because I know that Spurs fans have been frustrated with him at times. I think it was the game against Wolves where he got a lot of negative comments. But he has also scored the winner in one match.
Yeah, I mean, he's young. He's still learning. He's going to make mistakes. I think that's one thing you know about young defenders. They always get highlighted as well. Like we are now, we're highlighting a mistake that he's made. It's how you learn from them. When he made them mistakes against Wolves, he bounced back and he had a great period. Now, if he makes a mistake against Wolves and he makes one today, there's a big period of time in between that where he's played well. Now, you'd expect that from a young player. Now, there might be a period now of about a month or two until he makes his next mistake. And again, he has to learn from that. And then next season, he'll grow, he'll get better, and he'll learn from these mistakes. Pep Guardiola's always comes out with the saying that we don't lose a game, we learn from it. And it's exactly the same with mistakes. You can make mistakes and go into the change room and you can beat yourself up about it. But the most important thing is to go back in and say, right, what have I done wrong? And you've got to sit down with senior players, your manager, your staff, go through the videos. How can I correct that and make sure that it doesn't happen again?
How old were you before you realised this?
To get over that situation?
To get over situations like this. I mean, you wouldn't be doing it when you're 19, 20, would you?
Not until you retire. And that's truthful, because you do make mistakes you're never going to play a perfect game. You're never going to get it right all the time. You're always constantly learning. There's times where sometimes you feel a bit strange in the changing room and you're trying to give younger players a bit of help experience. A game later, you can make a mistake and it costs. And I think you've got to be a character. You've got to have enough character about you to understand that it is a mistake. It's going to happen. They happen every single day in training. But it's your mentality to go back out onto the training pitch and the pitch the following game and have broad shoulders and say, well, I'm not going to make that mistake again.
Who had the strongest mentality of the players that you played with?
To
able to bounce back. I mean, no disrespect, Jimmy Carragher's got a lot of own goals, for example.
Yeah, I'd say, he's the one who springs to mind. His attitude to everything in training was just, he brushed it off, he just got on with it. If he made a mistake, that was probably one of my problems when I was at Liverpool. I remember scoring an own goal away at Birmingham, and it just played on my mind the whole game, and I remember him shouting across at me, just get on with it. It's happened. Yeah. And I remember thinking, well, if he's thinking that, I've got to think it as well. And yeah, you sort of, at least the team are thinking that as well. I think sometimes you can weigh yourself down with too many thoughts of what's everyone else thinking about me now, rather than thinking, right, I can put this right and I can put in the rest of the game. I might either set a goal up or I might prevent another opportunity to score.
I think the point you've just made about what other people might be thinking, you don't know what they're thinking. So actually it's irrelevant. It's all about you, what you're thinking, how you get your thoughts right. So I read a great article today, and it's very appropriate because tomorrow, obviously, Manchester United, Liverpool, and if you remember at Old Trafford last season, Manchester United, Liverpool, Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back got ripped to pieces, didn't he, by Rashford. Yeah. Rashford scored twice, if I remember correctly. And the article is about Trent Alexander-Arnold and how he's used that as part of his learning curve.
Now, I know that you're quite well known for being a very positive individual now. In fact, on Sunday nights, you do a positive minute, don't you?
I do my best,
You do your best. But were you that positive when you were playing, when you were, say, 25, 26?
Absolutely not. I wished I had, back then as a player, what I now have. Yeah. And that is control of my thoughts. Because I used to think that too many people thought I was rubbish, that too many people thought they were better than me, that too many people were better than me, that I wasn't good enough.
Did anybody actually say that to you, though? Did anybody ever come up to you and say, Stevens, you're rubbish? Stevens, I'm better than you. Stevens...
Not that I recall, no.
It's just all in your mind.
It's all in my mind. And I would say that for a while at Spurs, and it coincided with my best time at Spurs, I worked with a sports psychologist. The club made one available to us. Some of us used him, some of us didn't. I used him. And then, like a fool, when the club said for the following season, listen, John Sire was the sports psychologist, he's still available to you, but we as a club aren't going to fund it anymore. If you guys want to use him, then go and see him, work with him, but you have to fund it yourself. Guess what? I stopped investing in myself. And I didn't pay to go and see John. And actually, I don't believe I ever got back to playing quite as confidently again as I was under him.
It's funny you say that because I was exactly the same.
Right.
When I was at Blackburn, we had a Big Sam brought a sports psychologist in.
Yep.
And everyone was the sort of, I don't know whether you were the same, but everyone went, oh, I'm not interested in this. Yeah. But what he did was, which was really clever, he came in and he did a few sorts of tricks, taking watches off people's wrists, and suddenly the players got oh, this guy's quite interesting, I like this. Yeah. And then when he sat down with him and he broke it down to the sports psychology side of it, fascinating and brilliant. Yeah. And I probably played the best football of my career after speaking to him on a regular basis. I thought it was brilliant. Just your approach to the game and how you break things down in your mind leading up to it, and the positivity of more than anything. And like you say, getting them negative beliefs out your head, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the one piece of advice you could share that he told you that still sticks with you now?
Mine was the focus onto the game, how I want the game to go in my head. So he'd always say, how does the perfect game go? How do you see it going as a fullback? You've got to win your tackles, don't get beat 1v1. And all these little thought processes came into my head, and more often than not, they became second nature in the game.